Afternoon, Villa fans. It's not a good afternoon from me, unfortunately. We've just had the breaking news about Boubacar Kamara being ruled out for the rest of the season. This was a video I was planning to do even without the news of Boubacar Kamara being confirmed about being out for the season. Obviously, on top of the injuries that we've got with the likes of Onana, McGinn, Barkley, we don't know what's happening with him. And obviously now Kamara ruled out. We have to now bring in a centre midfield player. So, we were close to Conor Gallagher, sort of looking at bringing him in on loan. We are heavily restricted by PSR, SCR, CPR, whatever it's bloody called. So we've got to tread carefully in the market. We can't go out and just spend loads of money and pay loads of big wages. So we have to now look cleverly at the market, not Tom Cleverly, but have a look cleverly at the market for midfield options, because Kamara's out. Our biggest player, I would say, the best player we've got, key player that we've got, our defensive midfield rock, is now gone. Lamar Bogard is probably going to have to step up. Maybe there were talks about George Hemmings going out on loan, but that's probably going to be, kicked to the curb now. We're definitely going to be hanging on to him. Onana plays a couple of good games here and there and then just gets injured. Ross Barkley comes back from injury, gets injured again. He's only got 6 months left on his contract and potentially he could be going. There are talks about maybe triggering a 1 year extension on his contract as well. I think we do hold an option on him. And obviously McGinn, we haven't had any news about John McGinn yet. What's going on that side? Obviously, it didn't look good for him either. Kamara obviously getting injured in the FA Cup tie. Paulinho didn't even get a yellow card for that, did he? And Kamara came off early. McGinn, similar thing, came off very early against Everton. And you just know with McGinn's one, it looked like a knee injury. With Kamara, I'm not sure what the actual injury is, but it's obviously out for the season now, which is it has potential to derail what we've done excellently in the first half of the season if we don't bring in players to replace them. We needed a striker, but obviously with Marlon going out, hopefully Abraham's coming in. We were looking at midfield players like Conor Gallagher. We now have to look at the market and bring in players as well. So I've done here 8 midfield options very quickly this morning that I think realistically Villa could be looking at for a quick turnaround and a quick fix, maybe a loan option, maybe a quick deal because some of these are out of contract in the summer. So let's have a quick little look at 8 options here for Aston Villa. Before I do go on, do please subscribe, like and comment as well. Your thoughts on the Kamara injury, what we can do, what players we could be looking at. These are just ones that I've just looked at on Transfer Market. I'm sure there are other better options out there, but these are the ones that sort of jumped off the page for me. So let's go through this one. So grab yourself a cup of tea. First name is, we'll start from this side here, Onyedika, Raphael Onyedika, a 24-year-old defensive midfield player playing for Club Brugge at the moment. We have been linked with him in recent weeks. 6 foot tall, Nigerian international, so just got back from AFCON. 23 appearances for Nigeria, 3 goals. He was bought by Club Brugge for 9.5 million euros back in 2022 from FC Midtjylland of Denmark. And Midtjylland hold a 20% sell-on clause on him as well. So Club Brugge and every team now are going to know that Villa are in the market, and therefore the price that we were quoted before is now going to go up by 5 or 6 million at least on some of these players. So Onyedika, looking at Transfer Market, rating of around 20 million, you could easily say that's going to be 25, 28 million now if Villa come knocking. So, yeah, he's got 24 appearances this season, 2 goals, 1 assist. One goal has come in the Champions League in 4 appearances and 14 appearances in the Belgian Premier Europa League. I think it's called, whatever it's called, Jupiler Pro League. That's the one. 14 games, 1 goal. He looks like a very likely player who could come in and play in the Premier League. Physical, dominating, good on the ball. He's the first player on the list that I've got here is Raphael Onyedika, 24-year-old Nigerian, 6 foot tall, and he is an out-and-out defensive midfield player. So there's your first one. The second one I wanted to look at is it's not Jurien Timber, but it's his twin brother, Quentin Timber. And this is going to involve quick action if we are interested. We're going to have to hijack his move to Marseille. He's currently in talks with Marseille. He's a free agent in the summer. He's leaving Feyenoord. Dutch international, 8 caps, 1 goal, 24 appearances this season, 4 goals, 4 assists. As I said, he's on a free transfer in the summer. He's winding down the contract. Obviously, we've got Boubacar Kamara on a free transfer, funny enough, from Marseille a few years ago. Could Feyenoord be tempted to do something now for a knockdown fee, 5 million perhaps or something, for someone who's worth a lot more than that? He's only 24 years of age, 5'10". Again, another can play defensive midfield, can play a little bit further forward in midfield, so as a 6 and an 8 as well. I think our interest in him now is going to grow, but we have to hijack that move that he's got in talks with Marseille. Hopefully nothing's locked in and agreed with them. So Jurien Timber's twin brother, Quentin Timber, is the other option there on your list. Third one down is Ruben Loftus-Cheek, a player that we know, a player that we've seen in the Premier League for Chelsea. Obviously, we've got Tammy Abraham perhaps coming in as well, who would know, obviously, Loftus-Cheek. Currently playing at AC Milan, 29 years of age, 6'3", so a really big player. He's got 18 months left on his contract at AC Milan. He's only making the starting 11 38% of the time. So he's very much just playing his appearances from the bench. He has made 19 appearances from 21 possible games, but a lot of those are coming from the bench. So he's got 23 appearances, 1 goal and 1 assist this season. A name that has been mentioned to us. It could be a loan deal from Milan, perhaps, with an option to buy him, obviously with his contract winding down in 18 months. Looks like he would probably be a good signing. He could probably come in and do. He knows the Premier League. He's big and physical. Again, he's just someone that has picked up injuries after injuries. But him, Tammy Abraham, the Chelsea link-up could be something that we look at. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is a name that's coming to the fore, and I'm sure we'll be mentioned in the next couple of days as well as a possible target. The fourth one is a player that we've been linked with in the past. He's had a loan spell in the Premier League with Leeds, Weston McKennie. Another player who is out of contract in the summer. He's winding down his Juventus contract. 27 years of age, 6 foot tall, USA international, 62 caps, 11 goals. I'm sure that West Edens would definitely welcome this sort of signing. 27 appearances this season, 4 goals and 4 assists. He's making the starting lineup 76% of the time for Juventus, so he is still very much in their starting 11 most of the time. But out of contract, cheeky little bid now, perhaps. We have been linked with him in the past. I don't think he did that well at Leeds when he was on loan at Leeds, but they were a struggling team. Must have something about him to play consistently in the Juventus team. Playing in the USA national team with 62 caps as well. Could be an option. I mean, he's definitely a player that gives you a lot of energy. Whether he just gives you the quality, I'm not so sure about. But Unai Emery, he can turn water into wine, can't he? So, let's see what maybe he can do with Weston McKennie. The next name I wanted to look at is a Middlesbrough player. Obviously, we've been in that market where we picked up Morgan Rogers from Middlesbrough. Their star player at the moment, their star boy at the moment is Hayden Hackney, 23-year-old, 5'10". They come through their academy. England under-21 international, being capped 13 times, 1 goal, 29 appearances, 4 goals and 6 assists. 100% of the time he's in the starting 11. So he's definitely, first pick for them. Been linked with the Premier League for a little while now. Would cost probably between sort of 20, 25 million. Are we in that market for this type of player? I'm not so sure about Hayden Hackney, but he's a name that's done the rounds and he's definitely standing out in the Championship. So definitely look out for that one as well. So Hayden Hackney is the other one. The other names that I've got here, Curtis Jones, currently at Liverpool. Obviously, we've got Harvey Elliott from them. Is there something that can be done there where we send them back Harvey Elliott and maybe we get Curtis Jones, instead on loan or maybe even on a permanent deal? I don't know, but 24 years of age only to Curtis Jones, 6 foot tall, 6 England caps, 1 goal. He's only making the starting lineup 45% of the time for Liverpool at the moment, which is obviously, quite a competitive midfield to get into. 19 appearances out of 22 possible Premier League appearances. So a lot of the times he's coming off the bench, I would say. 27 appearances, 0 goals, 1 assist this season. But he is someone who knows the Premier League ready. Similar mould to Conor Gallagher in terms of his industry energy. I think Curtis Jones could be someone that we should look at. And if we can get Harvey Elliott back to them, cancel that loan and maybe bring in Curtis Jones either on a perm or a loan with an obligation to buy. Maybe not with that 10-game clause, perhaps, but something along those lines. He's definitely someone that we should look at. And I'm sure that he wants to play regularly, 6 caps for England. You know, if he plays regularly now until the end of the season, could he still get on that plane for the England squad? I doubt it, but, you know, let's see. The 7th player on the list, Dani Ceballos, a player who is currently at Real Madrid, a player that Unai Emery will know well. I think he did have him at Arsenal, if I remember rightly. So Dani Ceballos could be a player that we look at. 29 years of age, a bit more experience than the rest of them. 5'9", not really a CDM and not really a like-for-like replacement for Kamara, is what I would say. He's more advanced, maybe more as an 8 or even a 10 number, as Unai Emery says. Spanish capped 13 times, 1 goal. He's only making the Real Madrid starting a lineup 20% of the time. So he's not starting very many games at all. 18 appearances this season, no goals and no assists. He's probably looking for a move out of Real Madrid. Can we use our Spanish connections, Olabi and Emery, to get something done there? Obviously, Emery might know the player already. You know, then what do? Then we obviously stick with maybe Tielemans playing as a, you know, with Bogard or Kamara or Onana when he returns, perhaps. And then Dani Ceballos could be that further number 10 or number 8 position for us, perhaps. But it's an option for us. It's definitely an option. But Dani Ceballos, not too sure about that one. And the last one here is a familiar name, a familiar face for us. Knows the system, can play CDM. He's gone off the boil massively since he left Aston Villa, obviously to Juventus initially. It was a sale that I don't think Villa wanted to make at the time, but we had to because of this PSR BS that was going on. His career has kind of fallen off a cliff since he's joined Juventus. Not really done anything for them. Was ranked amongst one of their worst signings ever. Since been loaned out to Nottingham Forest this season and not really getting into the Forest team. I think, again, there is an obligation to make the move permanent if he makes X amount of appearances, and Forest are reluctant to do that. So he's sitting on their bench mostly, coming on for a few minutes at the end here and there, or not even coming on at all in some games. He just looks like a lost figure out there. And we know what Dougie Luiz can do. We've seen prime Dougie Luiz for us. He can control games. He can dictate games, great passing. Will know his teammates really well, obviously, from his spell here with us. So 27 years of age, 5'8". As I said, currently at Forest on loan from Juventus. Brazilian capped 18 times, 24 appearances, 0 goals, 0 assists. And he's not really starting that many times. 24% of the time he's in the starting lineup for Forest. You know, Unai Emery has worked with the player, knows him personally. He obviously knows the team and everything like it. It would make sense to bring him back. But are we going to get the same Douglas Luiz, or has his legs given up a little bit? He's only 27, but there's something definitely wrong there. But Douglas Luiz, you know, they could cancel the loan at Forest and Juventus could send him to us. It still could happen. He hasn't played for Juventus this season. He was sent straight to Forest. So there is possibility of that happening, and I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen as well. So, guys, I just wanted to jump on a bit of an emergency kind of meeting, really. I didn't plan to get this video out straight away, but as soon as the news broke about Kamara being out, we still don't know about what's going on with McGinn. We still don't know what's going on with Onana. Barkley, is he even going to still be here at the end of the month? So all of a sudden, our searches now for midfield players has to be accelerated. Tammy Abraham, let's not waste any more time on that. Let's just get that done if that's going to happen. If not, let's just move on to other targets, because now we can't be going back and forth with Besiktas over Abraham when we've got other positions that need looking at now as well. So, yeah, it's not the podcast I wanted to do. I wanted Kamara to be fit. I wanted him to get back. I'm just hopeful on John McGinn now as well, because that did look bad as well. But guys, yeah, I'll leave it there. 15 minutes in. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Super thanks will be appreciated. Super hype ups, whatever they're called. Do what you can to support the channel, guys. I'll be back at you soon. I'm sure there's going to be some breaking transfer news in the next 24 hours, whether it's Tammy Abraham or we get concrete links to midfield players. Alabi and Emery are now probably really ramping up the searches on their data analysts to find out what's available, who they can get. And I'm hoping maybe these 8 names might be on the list. And if this helps the Unai Emery and Alabi look at some players, you're more than welcome. There you go. Right. Until the next one, guys, because I'm sure we'll be pretty soon. Over and out. See you later.